Hello, welcome to another episode of Constitutionalist Podcast. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard. That's L-E-N-A-R-D. It looks French. It's not. It's Leonard without an O. Thank you for tuning in. As Graham Norton used to say on his show, let's get on with the show. Wanted to let you know this brief intro. I'm going to double up 2 a week for the rest of January to get caught up on a few interviews I've recorded lately. They're kind of piling up. They're going a little too far in the future. I don't want to keep people waiting that long. So for the rest of January, I'll do 2 during the week rather than 1 midweek drop on Wednesday. So Tuesday and Thursday, the rest of January. Anyway, let's get some guests on, as Graham Norton currently says, and I'm borrowing. Joining me today, I don't script shows, as you know, but I do have notes. Joining me today is Steve Frazier. Thankfully, a name that's fairly easy. I won't screw it up.
You did a fine job. Thank you.
Welcome to the show, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding.
Yeah.
How about yourself? How are you?
Oh, well, you look like you're inside. You don't look like you're outstanding, but I'm bummed.
Okay. Wow. You set the tone. Now I understand exactly where we're going. Okay?
I can never pass lame puns. Never. Never. No. I used to do Savaged Unfiltered at co-host. I used to be Raging Joe at times over there, and other times Jokester Joe.
Okay.
King of the lame puns over there. So yeah. At any rate, on your bio, the thing that caught me most was self-sabotage coach.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, like couple hours ago, I was recording with Concepts and Clarity show as a guest. And indeed, the issue of self-reflection that sadly most people can't do, right? And indeed, what really, point the finger 3 coming back at you. Can you look in the mirror? What are you doing that may have contributed to that bad thing that happened that you're trying to, I'm a victim. No, what did you do that maybe helped play a part in that bad thing? But before we get to that, back this garbage truck up, right? Beep, beep, beep. Where were you born and raised? Where are you now? We know you're not outstanding in the field.
No.
Born, raised, where are you now? Some, great places you may have been in between, that sort of thing.
Okay. I was born in Merrill, Wisconsin, which is in north central Wisconsin. I live in Wausau, Wisconsin now.
Cheesehead.
Absolutely. You bet. Yep. I remember watching the first Super Bowl with my dad. I may have dated myself a little bit. But yeah, I'm that old. And so, I have been fortunate and blessed to travel in the Caribbean. I've been to Scotland and Ireland and Mexico a number of times. We got to travel through our business and just pleasure. But, seeing different aspects of the world gives you a whole different perspective, especially when you see the third world and you realize how absolutely spoiled we are and entitled.
Oh, we went one time when I was married, on a cruise, one of the stops was Belize, and we rafted through part of the Amazon River. But yeah, oh my God, just handing out $1 to these people, $100 to them, and American was like, hit the lottery.
Right. Yep. So, life experience, there are advantages to getting older, wisdom, life experience. If you choose to use that to the benefit of society instead of using it against society and telling, like you said, I'm a victim. I'm entitled. I'm not entitled to crap. Okay. Uh, if I want anything, I'm going to work for it. I've been working since I was 11. My first paper route, I have never stopped. I bought my first restaurant 40 years ago when I was 28 with no money down. Yes, I had some things happen, but you have to put yourself in the right place at the right time. We create our circumstances, we create our life, and I'm going to go back to this victim mentality thing. We are responsible for everything that happens in our lives. No one else is. And one of my wife's favorite sayings is, "We all have free will, and free won't." And And so nobody ever, never, everybody talks about free will, but they don't talk about free won't. And it's
Well
amazing how
put.
many people choose the free won't.
Yeah.
I choose not to do that.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely. Oh, I'm with you. Like nothing drives me more crazy. The ultimate in victimhood mentality to me is anti-Semitism. You're going to scapegoat and blame. We're all one human race.
yeah,
Cultural Marxism created the racism, idiocy, divide and conquer concept. We are all one human race. Yeah, different skin tones based on regions,
yeah,
different subcultures based on regions, but we are one human race. But yet there are always some who, oh, right, the the anti-Semitic trope, a Jew behind every tree and under every rock. Yeah, like they've got nothing to do all day but to meet at meetings and conspire to follow you around and sabotage anything you might want to do. It is the epitome of stupidity to me.
yeah. I think it's not just to you, it's to a whole bunch of us, but you're in good company anyway, and I'm in good company here. So,
Anyway, so indeed, yeah, self-sabotage, coach. What made you kind of come up with that and decide, oh, yeah, I got to be a self-sabotage coach?
well, I followed a gentleman on Facebook for years, and my daughter went to his first class 5 years ago. And what it does is it makes you really put your life into perspective. And I do seminars. I use this as part of my caffeine. I talk about caffeine. Caffeine is one of the physical pillar is in the physical pillar of self-sabotage, and we all self-sabotage. Okay, it's kind of like sin. We all do it. Okay, it's just a matter, are you humble enough to admit it and own it?
Or have the sin of hubris and refuse to
Right.
self-reflect, right?
That's right. Yeah, because self-sabotage is about undermining your own goals, values, and morals. And so obviously every one of us does it. We have five pillars: emotional, financial, spiritual, physical, and one other one. And so, but I chose to work in the physical part. The spiritual one is very interesting because there's it's very easy to sabotage your spiritual life. As an example, just don't go to church. Well, I don't have time for that. I still believe in God, but I don't need to go to church. Okay. Well, if you go to church, it helps you be a better person, Christian, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Because
If
of the
if
community.
you're going to a good indeed community, a real Christian church that deals in the whole Bible in full context.
Yeah.
Like Dennis Quaid says, if you're going to churchianity, you're just going to the building that happens to have a steeple on it,
Yeah.
but isn't really talking all of Christ's teaching,
That's right.
including the tough love part.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
Jesus isn't just, oh, kumbaya around the campfire. No, There's a lot of tough love parts that a lot of people want to gloss over. If you're going to a building that just happens to have a steeple, but you're not really getting Christ there, you're just going to a humanist club.
Yep. Oh, wow. You could do this for a living. Oh, you are. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Well, I will tell you, very good at it. Okay. And that's being recorded. So that
Well,
is
thank
in
you.
the tombs of time.
I would
Okay.
certainly never say that, but then again, I don't suffer the sin of hubris. So yeah.
Yeah. But so anyway,
I like to, it's not me. It comes from up there.
there you go. The
All right.
Holy Spirit.
I'm just the vessel.
Yep.
I'm nobody. I'm nothing. I'm human. I'm frail. I'm flawed. I'm nothing. Like all my books, you know, they may be from me being the one doing the typing, but they are through me.
Yep. Yep. And that's humility, what you just expressed there, and that is essential to be a good Christian, but also a good person recognizing self-sabotage. You know, and I chose to do that. I actually wanted to kind of do it as a living, as a coach, and I realized after a while that you it's a business that is very tough. Okay, it's tough to be a successful self-sabotage coach and get enough clients to make money. Okay.
Oh, so it's part human nature too. People don't want to hear it.
No, they don't. But you want to know? Okay, I wrote a book. It's called Winning the Battle, or Release the Coffee Cups, Winning the Battle with Caffeine. Okay. And as I have handed it to my friends, some friends and family, and the first thing they say to me is, "You can't take my coffee from me." And it's like, okay, I'm handing you a book that's not anti-caffeine. I'm not anti-caffeine. Okay, I'm not.
Everything in moderation.
Right. And to tell you the truth, I don't care if you drink caffeine because it doesn't affect me. Okay. We're all responsible for our own bodies, right? And so then I tell them, I say, I have no intention of taking your coffee from you. And I also can't, because you control what goes in your body. And so then they're taken aback, because I talked about this with a podcast host a couple of weeks ago, and I was using the analogy of the salmon swimming upstream, right? Everybody, I mean, most humans have seen that picture somewhere, or
yeah.
And, so I said, I'm like the salmon swimming upstream. I'm against the grain. And he chuckled and he said, "No, Steve, you're the salmon swimming against a tsunami." and cognitive dissonance. And I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it up so your listeners, if they're not,
cognitive dissonance, and people don't want to hear it. They seek confirmation bias.
Yes. They want to be part of the herd. That's self-sabotage talk. Because if you're in the herd, you're safe.
You might think you are, but yeah.
Right. You're not. You and I are not in the herd, okay? We're rebels, okay? And so what you find is that when you have this, we all are programmed to have certain beliefs throughout our life. And then when something is presented to us in an objective fact, and it goes against our beliefs, the vast majority of humans deny it. And we've seen a lot of this in the last 5 years.
Right. Okay. It's like grief. I'm going to set something up here, right? You can plant seeds, but you can't force somebody to come to a realization. They have to, like grief, come to the shock. They may have been wrong, or they've been fooled. They've been deceived. No one wants to admit that. The shock. Then some go into denial and fall back. They need anger, which Jesus never said anger is a sin. It's a natural human emotion, but how you channel it for better or bad. Channeling anger to punch somebody in the face, that's a sin, right? And then hopefully they get to that acceptance phase. But you said it right, shattering their belief, not in a religious sense, but
No.
I have an episode. It used to be until recently one of my most watched and listened to episodes. It's what color is the sky really? Now, if someone parrots it's blue, wrong answer, right? The sky is blue. Declarative, definitive statement, false. But we're all taught to parrot that's no, it's transparent, it's opaque, it appears blue. Why? Because of the prism of light reflecting off our waterways. That's like water. If I look at a glass of water, it's clear. But
Yeah.
if I look at a big body of water, it appears blue. The sun, most days reflecting off our planet, make the sky appear blue. It is not blue, however. And if you can get them to oh my God, that's right. You look up at night, what is it? It looks black, devoid of all light and content. But it's not black, it's clear. You're seeing the blackness of space. If you're on Mars during the day, the reflective light will make the sky appear red, right? It's tricks of light, optical illusion. Sometimes the sun may be shining a certain way, the sky can appear orange. If a storm is coming, it may appear green. So, what color is the sky? Opaque, not blue. And if you could get them to realize how they've been stupidly conned into parroting, well, the sky is blue, Hollywood cracker, then you may get them to open up to realizing other things they've allowed themselves to be fooled into. Yes?
Yes. One of my things that my wife and I talk about, Socrates. You don't know what you don't know.
And we are all ignorant of things.
Yes.
Ignorance is different than stupid. Stupid is choosing to remain ignorant and not learn.
And we can't fix stupid, but we can fix ignorance.
Amen. Amen.
Yep. So, we could talk about that all night. And so, yeah. But anyway, so I took my self-sabotage work, and then my wife got chronically ill 13 years ago, and we went down the natural health rabbit hole. And so when we combined that with self-sabotage, I thought, where can I have the most impact? And I believe it's with caffeine, because caffeine affects literally 6 billion people on the planet.
Caffeine, nicotine, right? Yep. My sister used to smoke cigarettes. I was just talking to somebody about this earlier. I don't want her smoking anything, obviously. Putting anything other than good, pure air in your lungs, bad idea.
Yep.
So vaping is better. It's not good.
No.
It's better than the tar in the cigarette, but it's not good. And indeed, in the vaping, she's just getting a trace of nicotine. So that's, again, better, not good, but at least she's working towards better.
Yes.
And hopefully one day completely quit.
Yep. So, we look at these things, and I have a mission, and my mission is to spread the word. Okay, I spread knowledge and pro health, pro knowledge. I'm not anti anything, because negativity doesn't get you anywhere. What does get you somewhere is being positive. My message is one of love. If you know someone that is being affected negatively by caffeine health wise, share some facts with them.
Yeah.
I'm going to give
Oh,
you some stuff in the show
like I
notes.
said, right? Plant seeds. You
Yep.
can't hold a gun to their head. You
Nope.
can't make them change. Just plant seeds out of love, and hopefully they have to have that self-realization and go into the shock, denial, anger, acceptance
Right.
phases.
There you go. Yep. But I do have a micro mission, and that is about fetuses. Okay, and I have a fetus right here. I have it with me all the time. Okay, because the fetus does not have free will or free want. The fetus is completely dependent on mom.
Right.
And
It is a human
yep,
from the conception.
yep,
Never has a human woman give birth to a monkey or a fish or a parrot. It's a human, but yes, for 9 months or so gestation, it needs nutrients and
yep,
oxygen and
right,
blood and
yep,
nourishment from and through the woman in her womb. It's not her kidney, it's not her heart, it's in the woman. It is not part of the woman,
right,
right? All these things matter, but
yep,
yes, exactly. The fetus is dependent till it's born, but that doesn't make it a non-human until it magically comes through the
right,
birthing
right,
channel.
yep. So
Sorry, I went on a rant there. Finish your point.
oh, I like rants. Rants are okay. There's a good chance I'll have a rant yet tonight. Okay, so you just let me go when I do. And it could be soon because this message right now is the message. Okay, the fetus. We have a enzyme in our livers that's called the CPY1A2, and that processes 85% of caffeine, 95% of caffeine in our bodies as adults. Now, the fetus does not develop this enzyme until it's 3 to 6 months old out of the womb. So if mom is drinking caffeine, the baby has no way to process the caffeine, so it stays in the body. Okay? And this is a big deal because it takes 100 hours for a baby, for a fetus to process caffeine if mom would quit. Well, if you drink, most moms that are drinking caffeine are doing it every day. So they have 9 months. And so what it does is it builds up in their bodies, it builds up in their fat, builds up in their brains. It plugs their adenosine receptors, which are communicating different development things in the body. And so, and everything that I've written about, what I'm talking about now, none of this is my opinion. Okay, it's objective fact. Okay, so I have over 300 references in my book, right? And I've read a lot more than that, and I'm reading more all the time because I have people ask me questions, and sometimes, occasionally, somebody will ask me a question and I don't have the answer. Now I'm learning more and more, but so what happens is that drinking caffeine while pregnant can lead to low birth weight, miscarriage, stillbirth, developmental issues like ADD, ADHD, also physical development. Okay. Now, I bring this up because I have this is personal to me because I have two miscarriages that I know about with my daughter and my daughter in law. So that's two less grandchildren I have. I have a stillbirth for my niece. I went to the funeral and they had an open casket for a 7-month-old fetus. And if that doesn't rip your heart out, you don't have a heart. And I'm bringing this up because the message that you and I are going to spread tonight by being on this podcast together are if you can share these facts with a pregnant woman, then she can't say she didn't know.
Right. Oh, there's
And
so much. It's like even the argument now with Tylenol.
right,
Tylenol for years has said don't use if you're pregnant. But now
yes.
all of a sudden that the administration is saying don't use if you're pregnant. Oh my God, TDS kicks in, right? You got to try to avoid anything and everything that
Yep.
isn't a natural substance
Right.
uh,
Yep.
uh, as best possible when you're pregnant, just to be safe.
Yep.
Anything and everything can have an adverse effect, which is,
Yep.
I'm not saying, no one I know is saying, if you really, really got a killer headache and you got to take Tylenol, okay. Don't be popping it every day, is what people are saying.
Right. Yep. And so if we can spread that message, we can save a life.
Yeah. And
And you realize how powerful that is? I mean, if you just think about this, I mean, and I'm not disrespecting any of your guests or any other guests on every other podcast I've been on. But and I will never know. Only God will know, and God will know, and then He'll tell me later on. Okay. But if one mom quits drinking caffeine while she's pregnant, that we because of what we're talking about, and she has a healthy baby, we may have been the reason that that baby was born healthy. And guess what? That makes you and I rock stars.
now back to self-sabotage and health.
Okay?
I
Sure.
can Let me speak for myself. I'm on disability because of myriad of health issues. There was a degree of self-sabotage in why I am where I am today. I was an IT guy. I mean, you need to get reasonable sleep, but yet I was always on call. I was working a lot and I would be awakened during the night a lot and
Yep.
not getting sufficient sleep. And eventually, and I knew that. I knew better. When the younger you are, the longer you might get away with it, but eventually something is going to catch up with you, and it did with me. My body said, all right, if you're not going to slow down, guess what? We're going to force you to slow down. And
Yep.
indeed, bam, major problems. And I had to go on disability. So
Yep.
it was a degree, again, being able to look in my mirror, self sabotage. I knew it wasn't good. I knew it wasn't healthy, but I kept allowing it to happen because the pay was good and I had a lot of nice toys. But I don't have any of those toys now because I'm on disability income.
Yeah. It's funny when you just brought up the mirror. You know, um, one of the things in self-sabotage that I talk about regularly is mirror work. And actually, in my I have a presentation for a lot of things because I do different things. But self-sabotage, I have a picture of a girl looking in a mirror, and it says, "You are your greatest advocate, and you are your greatest enemy."
Amen.
Yep. And when if you can really to defeat some self-sabotage, one of the best things is to do affirmations in the mirror and look yourself in the eye. Okay? Because you there's a different effect.
Some people are really good at lying to themselves and
Yeah.
others, but worse when you lie to yourself and you believe your own BS, right?
Yeah. Right. So, you look at yourself. I mean, I have different things on my mirror right now in my bathroom. And one of them is it says I am enough. And the another one is I think it's Philippians 14:6. I can do all things through Christ. Okay. If I look at that every day, and I look at that two to 10 times a day, depending on how often I go to the bathroom, okay. But that's another issue. So, and then I have affirmations up there, and so I look at them every morning and every night. And what it does is that it helps. Self-sabotage is really about if you want to be successful combating your self-sabotage, you have to reprogram your subconscious because our lives are run 95 to 98% of our lives are run by our subconscious.
Automatic pilot.
Yep. autopilot, right? And and we could talk about that for an hour. I don't need to do that because it's the truth. It's proven. And ironically, our subconscious is programmed from birth till about age 7, because we are in that age group. You're in a theta brainwave state, and that is where everything you see and hear when you're that age goes right into your subconscious.
Yeah, that's that nature and nurture.
Yep.
Really, really important phase there. Yes.
Yes. Yep. And so, there's guys. There's a guy named Bruce Lipton. He's on YouTube, and he talks about reprogramming and why you are. I mean, how you were raised really determines who you are. You can change that though through affirmations, through
Yeah, right.
hypnotherapy. You
Again,
know,
we are given free will, and if we
yep,
want change, we can make change. It can be difficult, but
yep,
for better or worse, change can happen. And some
exactly.
go down the better road, some go down the worse road.
Right. As adults, we have two conscious periods of theta brainwave, right when we wake up and right when we go to bed. So I used to pray. I'd go to bed and then I would pray. And I found that I was falling asleep while I was praying. Okay, I have that unique ability to when I go to bed, and this just irritates my wife to no end.
Oh,
I mean, she still loves me. That's not the point. But
oh no! You're irritating me because I'm the OCD type. I get it, and that was the other thing.
yep,
If I'd be awakened in the night, I couldn't just go back to bed and go right back to sleep. I'd
yep,
be up for more hours with the brain going
sure.
boom, 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 boom. Can't shut it off. You can shut
So
yours off.
yes. So here's some tricks to that, and I'm going to help you right now. Okay. The first thing you want to do is before you go to bed is write down everything that you're going to do tomorrow morning, because you're not thinking about it then when you go to sleep. You're not thinking about it in your subconscious. Okay. It's an action plan. Have you ever heard of Agamandino?
No,
He,
no.
he wrote a book called The Greatest Salesman in the World. And in there, he's got 10 scrolls. And I would really recommend that you and your listeners look at them. I mean, you can go to YouTube and you can actually listen to them. What they are is they're 10 different affirmations. His last one has to do with God. He was a alcoholic, lost his family, lost his job, and was at a bar and basically had a come to Jesus meeting, and it's a life turned around. But anyway, he has these affirmations, okay? And so what I do then is when I lay down and I'm going to go to sleep, and I know there are nights when I go to sleep in 1 minute, okay, and I'm not lying. The last thing that I do is I thank God for the day. I thank God for keeping me alive and keeping my loved ones and my family alive and healthy. And what that does, now realize I'm in theta brainwave, okay? So I'm reprogramming my subconscious to gratitude, right? If we can live in gratitude, we are going to be great people. Okay, as
As
Christians.
opposed to me when I was working and the stress, I was programmed for stress and worrying about the next
Yes,
day rather than having been
right.
planned for it.
Yep,
Therefore, staying. I'm better now that on disability and not having the pressures of that work. I can get to sleep better than I used to. So, yeah, I want to start to wrap things up, but I did want to get to one other thing. Has an expertise in electromagnetic fields. So I just wanted to, out of insatiable curiosity, to hear about that.
okay. Well, I've got the answer. Okay, so my wife, I told you, chronically ill. She got diagnosed with Lyme disease 13 years ago. Doctors missed it for 2 years. She was almost dead. My
Mm.
daughter, who's a natural health practitioner, found it with energy work and muscle testing. That's a whole nother story. But one of the things that happened to her is that she holds on to radiation and electromagnetic fields.
I was the former IT guy. I know someone who's like, tinfoil hat.
Yep.
5G is going to kill us all. Smart
Yep.
meters are going to kill us all.
Yeah.
Or like with the Wuhan hysteria, spike proteins are going to kill. No, some people, like you're describing, are more susceptible to
Yes.
microwave
Yep.
radiation or
Correct.
5G raves and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's not going to kill everybody on the planet, but
No.
yes, there are some
Just a
people.
select few.
Yeah.
So what happened is that our daughter, through her health practice, got me connected with a guy. I live in Wisconsin. He was in New York, and he made these pyramids. They're called organites. And so we bought them. And what they do is they mitigate EMF waves. EMF waves are negative. They're negative, and they're bad for you. They're bad for everybody. Okay. Now,
But
give me a
again,
sec.
some are more a problem and susceptible than others.
Just give me a second here. Give me a second because I went a little bit farther because we did all this with energy work. Okay. Well, I decided that I was going to prove this objectively. So I found a chiropractor that does something called dark field microscopy. And that is where they take your blood and they put it under a microscope and it's dark field so you can see it. It goes up, he puts it up on a 35-inch flat screen TV and you're looking at your blood. Okay. And after the birth of my children, it's the most fascinating thing about my body I've ever seen because I'm looking at my red blood cells. I'm looking at white blood cells cleaning my blood. Okay. Now, what we did, and then what we did with the organites and I make them now because my daughter convinced me to make them, and it's resin and crystals and metal. And what happens is when the resin cools, it contracts, puts pressure on the crystals, and that evens out the negative EMFs. So what we did is we took 10 people, and we went to this chiropractor with the dark field microscopy, and 8 of the 10 with the organites in the room, because we did a baseline with no EMFs. Then we did a test. So we did 3 blood tests, a baseline, because he didn't have a cell tower there. So we went right from the parking lot into the office. We got our blood tested. Then we went out into the lobby. And he had a big router out there. We had an open laptop hooked up to the internet. We had a cell phone with a hotspot on it. Okay, so it's throwing out juice, man. And then we put a number of organites in there. Okay, then we went and got a blood test. We sat out there for 20 minutes. Then after that, we took the organites back out into the car and sat in the waiting room for 20 minutes with no protection and got another blood test. Okay, the first time I did this with this guy, he thought I was crazy. I paid him $100. He said, "This is he's thinking to himself, this is the easiest $100 I've ever made." and when we're done, he looked at me and he said, "You're onto something here." Now, because we could see the difference, and the significant difference on 8 out of 10 people was that with the organites, their white blood cells were still working, which means that your immune system is still working. When your white blood cells stop working, your immune system isn't working.
And
Now,
I know how that goes because I didn't choose this hairdo. I had leukemia in 2010.
okay,
Chemo, the hair
yep,
came out, I shave it now.
right,
Yeah, so my immune system, still to a degree, is one of my health issues. My immune system doesn't work as well as it needs to.
yep. So what he said is, I want you to take a step farther. I want you to do something called an accugraph, and that's an acupuncture test. It's objective. It comes out with a graph. And once again, we then redid the test because the first one I just did myself. Then I did 10 more with 10 different people, and we showed, and it's objective, is that organites, you can sit next to a router for 8 hours if you have an organite pyramid next to you, and your immune system is still functioning. Okay, now you brought up Wuhan, and I'm going to bring this up because this is great for anybody here that's a tinfoil hat guy, right? If you look at look at the first 5 hotspots of COVID. Okay. And I'm going to name, and I'm pretty close here. Okay. Wuhan, Spain, Italy, New York City, and that cruise ship that got hit. There were everybody got COVID, right? That was in February, March of 2020. Now in October, November of 2019, those 5 areas went completely 5G. Now, I'm not telling you that 5G causes COVID or any other disease. What I will tell you, what I believe, is that 5G compromises your immune system.
More in some than others.
Correct, because
Yes.
we're all
Yeah.
unique. Correct,
Yes.
and that's something that's a great point that you need to bring up because everybody's different. You know, I mean, my wife is completely unique and special. I love her to death, but she's very unique. Okay, and, you know, and so what it comes down to is that or EMFs are bad for everybody. Okay, it's how each individual deals with it and how your body's process. And if your immune system stays solid, you're blessed. You're blessed with a great immune system. But I mean, I've sold pyramids to I had a lady. She took one to work, and the second week that she was there, she sent me a message and she said, "Steve, I can't thank you enough. I got 5 days worth of work done in 3 days this week because she had no brain fog. She wasn't being bombarded by EMF. So it's real. It all depends, you know. And I've done there's a guy named Martin Paul. He's got a PhD, but he's got some incredible information on EMFs. There's a guy, EMF guy, Nick. He's a French Canadian, and it escapes me. But I'll put it in the show notes. I'll send you the link to the book. I'll actually send you the book.
Okay.
And I have other things for the show notes if you want to put them in. Just fun facts. Basically, they're fun facts to know and tell. Okay, but
Well, let's go ahead and wrap it. Do you have them on a website?
yes, yes.
What is your website where people can find you and these sorts of bits of information?
It's called releasethecoffeecuffs.com. That's CUFFS. So it's a play on handcuffs. And there's a lot of information there, and there's a contact page. And if you have any questions, you can email me. I will respond to every email because I'm conscientious and I care. I care about people that actually have. If you care enough to send me an email, I'm going to respond. Okay, because the apathy in the world is so brutal that most people won't take 2 seconds or 2 minutes to send me an email and say, you know, will this help me? Right? I mean,
Yeah.
apathy and entitlement is killing us, right? And
Well, and it's a matter of trust too. It's
yep,
again, people. There are so many cons and
yep,
scams and
right,
frauds out there.
yep,
People need to have degrees of skepticism, but
yep.
yeah, right.
So you find me at the website. There's a lot of information there, a lot of good information. You can sign up. There's some things there. You can actually sign up for some more free information if you want. A lot of that I'm going to include in the show notes for you. And so, you know, I still want them to go to the website. Okay. I'm not going to tell you not to. I have a coach. I have a coaching program on there, you know, and again, there's a lot of information, but
Well, that's why I'm always sure to ask. I want
yes,
people to
yep.
absolutely know the website.
And I
And
appreciate
indeed,
it.
so thank you, Steve, for stop. We've gone long now. So
I
I'm
tend to
good.
do that just so you know.
Oh, hey, you like a lot of my guests, right? We could go for 3 hours, 3 days,
Yep.
talk, right? But if I call it today's Twitter or
Yep.
TikTok attention span, right? Everybody,
Yep.
oh, just give me the highlight. Just give me the headline. Well, details matter, people.
Yes. I want to
So,
just make a comment. I love your shirt. Okay.
oh,
It's great. It's
I'm a
outstanding.
little early for the Olympics, but yeah.
That's okay. You're never too early. No, but
Uh,
I really appreciate you having me on. It is, I've done 43 podcasts in the last 3.5 months. And you're my fourth or fifth one where we actually got to talk about Jesus. Okay. And I've done three, and I told my wife, I said, these are just for me. We don't talk, there's no business. They never even asked me about my website, okay, or my coffee thing or whatever, okay, because I really enjoy the opportunity to witness and to spread the message, and my message of love through helping pregnant women drinking caffeine, that is a message of love, okay, and we do have the ability to possibly save a baby, and there's nothing more powerful than that. Other than whatever, and again, a lot of this is God stuff. Okay, so I'm not telling you that I'm responsible. God is controlling all of this.
Amen.
Yeah. So anyway,
Exactly.
I'll leave you with that message. How's that?
Yeah, it's not it's of us and from us to a degree, but mostly it's through us.
Yes.
We're right. Don't shoot the messenger.
No. Right. Yeah.
We're just trying to help. It's up to you to look in your mirror and decide for yourself. And
that's the truth.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So thank you, Steve Frazier. I'm glad we had a chance to kind of touch on a whole bunch of different stuff. Thank you for stopping by, Steve.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Good night.
Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.
Thank you for having tuned into another Constitutionalist Podcast show. I really appreciate that you stopped by. Again, please like, share, subscribe. We need you to help spread the Constitutionalist movement. Thank you again. Take care. God bless. Love you all.